All right, let's dive into something you've definitely seen. A viral art trend that was absolutely everywhere, and then, poof, it was gone. We're talking about that beautiful, dreamy, and yeah, super controversial world of AI Ghibli art.
I mean, for a hot minute there, you literally couldn't open up any social media feed without seeing it, right? Your friends, your cat, that random picture of your lunch, everything was suddenly this magical, hand-painted Ghibli scene. It was like a digital fever dream. And then it just stopped. So what happened? Where did it all go?
Okay, so to figure out why it vanished, we've got to go back to why it exploded in the first place. And really, it all comes down to this perfect storm of brand new tech meeting some really powerful old-school nostalgia.
The secret sauce here? It was just so simple. All of a sudden, you didn't need any artistic skill, none. All you had to do was feed it a photo and type in a super simple prompt, something like "make this look like Ghibli." And damn, in seconds, the AI would spit out that cozy, magical style we all know and love. It was like getting a ticket to step right into your own animated movie.
So you had this perfect recipe for going viral. First, the tech was super easy to use, right? Anyone could do it. Second, you had this incredibly potent nostalgia for that Ghibli look. I mean, who doesn't love it? And three, you had the social media algorithms just eating it up and pushing it to everyone. It created this insane feedback loop. You'd see it, you'd want to try it, you'd share your own, and the whole cycle just kept repeating, basically flooding our feeds overnight.
Here's the thing. That initial wow factor, that sense of magic, it started to fade, and it faded fast. Turns out, the very thing that made it so popular, that instantly recognizable style, was also its greatest weakness. You could almost feel the collective vibe shift, you know? It went from, whoa, AI can do this, to, oh, another one. That signature, warm light, the floating bits of grass, the girl with the backpack looking away, the patterns just became so obvious. The magic of feeling like you made something unique was replaced by the feeling of just applying a filter. A very pretty filter, for sure, but it started to feel kind of empty.
And this feeling was just summed up perfectly by a comment I saw on Reddit. Someone wrote, "It doesn't look like Ghibli at all. It looks like AI trying too hard to be Ghibli." And that just nails it, doesn't it? The images had the look, but they were missing the soul. It was a great copy, but at the end of the day, it was still just a copy.
Okay, but this wasn't just a case of people getting bored and moving on to the next shiny thing. The conversation started to get a lot deeper, and some pretty serious ethical and artistic questions popped up that really sped up the whole decline.
People started asking the big question, wait a second, how did the AI learn to draw like this? And the answer was, well, pretty uncomfortable. These models were almost certainly trained on huge amounts of actual Ghibli artwork, and probably without anyone's permission. That changed everything. Suddenly, this wasn't just a fun little toy anymore. It started to feel like it was watering down or even stealing decades of real human artistry.
And then this old quote from the master himself, Hayao Miyazaki, came roaring back. He'd said it years before this trend even existed, but his words just cut right through the noise. He called AI animation an insult to life itself. Oof, that became a huge rallying cry for artists and fans who felt like this whole trend was basically spitting on everything his studio stood for.
And this, right here, is the absolute heart of the issue. It made all of us ask a really fundamental question about art. If a machine can copy the look perfectly, what's missing? What's that secret ingredient, that thing you can't quite put your finger on, that makes a real Ghibli film feel so alive?
Well, the answer is pretty much everything that happens between the brush strokes. Yeah, the AI could copy the colors and the shapes no problem, but it couldn't copy what animators call the time sense. That's the specific rhythm of a pause, you know? The way a character takes a breath, or the way the wind actually moves through the grass. It completely missed the subtle emotions flickering in a character's eyes, the deep themes of nature and humanity, and maybe most of all, the beautiful, messy, imperfect details that come from a human hand.
I saw a media critic put it in a way that just stuck with me. AI painted Ghibli's colors, but not Miyazaki's breath. Wow, that says it all, right? The AI could make a pretty picture, a still life, but it couldn't capture the life itself, the very thing that animators pour their hearts and souls into, frame by painstaking frame.
So the trend died. But that wasn't the end of the story for AI in art, not even close. In fact, you could say it was the start of a much more grown-up and frankly more interesting conversation about where all of this is headed.
Really, we shouldn't look at the end of the Ghibli craze as a failure. It was more like a critical learning moment.
a massive, global experiment that taught us a super valuable lesson about the huge difference between just copying something and actually creating something. What this whole thing did was shine a huge spotlight on two very different ways we can use AI in art. You have the old model, the one we just saw burn out, which is all about imitation, using AI to just replace a style. But then there's this new, way more exciting model, co-creation, where the AI isn't a replacement, it's a tool. It's something to help a human artist, to push their imagination further and create something totally new, not just another copy of something we've already seen.
And at the end of the day, what this whole roller coaster taught us is that maybe we were asking the wrong question. Instead of asking, does this look like Ghibli, or does this look like Van Gogh, the much better question to ask about any art, whether it's made by a human or an AI, is this. Does this image have a story? Does it have my story? Does it connect with me?
And that really leaves us with this one big takeaway. This whole AI Ghibli trend was a fascinating, weird, and wonderful moment in time. And it reminded us of a truth that's as old as art itself. Technology can get incredibly good at copying the form, the style, the surface. But the soul, the real heart of a piece, the part that actually reaches out and connects with you, that still has to be written by hand.